So we might as well get started. Welcome to SestraNow's Workshop Wednesday, everyone. We do these workshops every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern. And just so for those of you who don't know, what we do is we have one of our sestras who's an expert in a certain field or a business owner present on a topic that is consistent with our mission, the mission of SestraNow, which is to empower women physically, mentally, and financially. And what we ask they do is to provide an educational component to whatever it is, that they're teaching us and that they're telling us about. And tonight we have the pleasure of having a woman that I respect, a woman that she's been so helpful to SestraNow's growth, to what it is today. She's been with us like from the beginning. And so I'm going to have to read it because she's just so amazing. So LeTonya Moore is Chief Legal Counsel Business Strategist at I Protect Your Brand. She's a former attorney at law at the United States federal government, former CEO and founder at Real Perspectives TV show, and creator of Legalproof, and launch an iconic brand. And she's going to present on the topic tonight of principles that profit. So without further delay, I am going to go ahead and let LeTonya speak to us and share some secrets to her success. She is also just a wonderful person, caring person, God-fearing woman, and Sestra, which Sestra means sister in Slavic languages, and also an international success. So I really recommend you listen carefully and then even replay this tape, because what she's going to tell you pretty much her tips to her success, which whenever she speaks, I listen. Okay, so I advise you to do the same. And without further ado, LeTonya, thank you so much.
I guess I should unmute. Thank you. Thank you so much, Stephanie, for allowing me to be a part of the SestraNow platform. Your commitment and your dedication to this vision that I have watched over the years, and it has definitely grown tremendously. So definitely kudos to you and your team for all the great work that you're doing for, inspiration and economic empowerment for women worldwide. So I definitely want to express my gratitude. One of the things I want to talk about today is really just, I wanted to share a little bit about my story. I think it's important that, I think when people see you, they kind of see what you do. They see like where you are, where they're perceived that you are. They forget, right, that there's a road, there's a journey. It hasn't always been this way. And the reason that I wanted to share that is because I think it's important, because no matter where you are in your business, I've been there, right? If your business is booming, you got clients, you have receivables, you have money coming in, you have employees, right? So everything is great, right? Your contract clients are paying on time. Fulfillment is going, everything is great, perfect, right? I've been there. If you're the person that literally you don't know where your next meal, right? Your next client, your next dollar, trust me, I've been there, right? I've been all over the gamut of it. But I want to go back just a little bit, because I think that understanding the principles that I'm going to talk about, you sort of have to understand where it came from, right? It's hard to talk about how to work a principle when we're at the place that the principles have worked, right? Everything is manifested. So it's hard for people to really wrap their mind around it when they're not there yet. Or maybe they are, right? And they just don't know that they are. But some of the things, so it's kind of like 5 things that, I'm saying principles, but it's like 5 elements, right? 1 is perspective. 1 is perseverance. Pivot, right? You have to have some principles, and then of course, profit. So of course, I can't talk about all of those. I just wanted you guys to know sort of what I live by, right? And the rules. But one of the things that Stephanie and I talk, that we talk personally about, right, is different belief systems, right? I don't promote one belief system over another. I think that everyone is supposed to be empowered, right, to have their own belief system. I know what works for me. I know what has worked for me. And those are the things that I want to share. So I want to put that out there because I don't want people to get confused, right, and miss principles and miss tools that you can use because of maybe where I got them from. So I said, that way. So I literally left. So my corporate career was with the federal government. I've been a corporate federal attorney from law school, and I did that for about 12 years, right? 12 years or so. One day, literally one day, I said, I'm really tired of doing this. This was a Monday. I put my notice in on Tuesday. That Friday was my last day. Like it was just that quick. So never do that. Rule number one, right? Now, it wasn't that I didn't have a plan. It wasn't that I hadn't been thinking about it. It wasn't like I just woke up one day and that's what I wanted to do, but I was completely unfulfilled. I was just completely unfulfilled. And so I had this side gig that was doing great, or so I thought, right? So I had this side gig that was doing great. And I said, if I spend all of my time doing that, man, right, it's going to just kick, just pop off. So that's what I did. I left my job. I had about a week in between. So I went out and I did everything that they tell you not to do. I got an expensive office space, which I didn't need at the time. I paid for a lot of expensive advertising, which I didn't need at the time, right? So I did a lot of the things that I didn't need to do at the time. And I want to share that because the one thing that I needed to do that I didn't do was to get a mentor or some kind of coach, or the money that I spent in doing that, I could have paid a consultant that would say, this is exactly what you need to do. I didn't do that. And what happened was I literally lost everything that I had worked for, like, but my car. And when I say everything, I mean houses, money, savings, stock options, or stock, anything I could liquidate, I did, right? And then I lost that. There was nothing left. I'm telling you guys this because at the time I had a church friend, right? I didn't really nobody really knew I was going through this. People would just see me like you see me now. There was no difference. But I had a church friend, and we weren't even real friends. We were just church friends who I told what was going on, right? And she said, look, I have a room downstairs at my house. You can stay there, right? You don't have to be on the street. And so she opened her home to me. And I'm sharing that, there's so much connected to that we could talk about later, but I'm sharing that because I think it's important for you to understand just how destitute I was, right? But no one really knew it. Like if I didn't tell her, she would have no idea. And it wasn't that I was trying to hide it per se, but that's not something you really just go around telling everybody, right? But that was a pivotal moment for me because I had never in my life been in a situation like that. My family didn't even know what was going on, right? I had never, ever been in a situation like that. But when I tell you I tried to get a job, like nothing, no door would open, right? No door would open. I literally tried to get a job. So I was driving down I-20 in Atlanta. And if you guys know Atlanta, right? I-20 stretch from Mississippi or maybe even Texas, right? All the way. But I was going I-20 East, and I was just in the car, just like bawling my eyes out. I know the people driving by thought I was some maniac. But anyway, I was in the car and I was talking to God, right? Who I acknowledge. Again, no one else has to believe this. This is just personal. But I was talking to God and I was saying like I'm your daughter. Like, how dare you leave me like this? And so any of you that has studied the Bible, again, you don't have to be Christian, this is not faith-based, but any of you have studied the Bible, I was in my Job moment where Job was like, listen, I did everything you asked me to do.
Yes.
And look at me, I'm at this place. And just like he told Job, he told me, he said, okay. And I'm paraphrasing, right? This is what I heard. Let me show you where all that, like basically you're eating the fruit of your disobedience. So I purposely left this out to put it here. Before I put in my notice, right? I literally had a dream and I woke up from that dream and I had a paper like this with a bunch of, notes written on it. I called my best friend and I was like, this is how I'm going to leave and sustain everything, right? Literally that night, God had given me a plan. And I told my best friend, she was like, oh, okay, I can see that working. I left and I did not do any of that. Nothing on that sheet, not one thing. I didn't do one thing, right? And the reason that that's important is because in my screaming, crying, maniac, can't see for the tears moment, right? In that moment, God said, this is part of the fruit. But he took me back even further, right? Where he had told me one time to give money to a very particular specific ministry, right? And I will never forget, it was $750, which I easily had at this time. But instead of giving this $750 to the ministry, I bought $750 worth of their products. Again, I didn't follow the instruction. Okay. So what's my point? My point is what he showed me on my I-20 meltdown was a series of, I give you instruction, but you do it your way. Like do stuff, but you do it the way you want to do it. You don't do exactly what I tell you to do. And because of that, every door is going to be shut until you learn your lesson and you do what I told you to do. In that moment, I understood why I was in the predicament that I was in. Right? And it was but here's the thing. It wasn't, I'm like, okay, Lord, I understand. I'll never do it again. Things didn't change the next day, right? They literally did not change the next day. So let's fast forward a little bit. I know I'm short on time, but I felt like that was important.
No, you have time. Please go. I need to hear this.
Okay. So, so from that point forward, right, in my prayer and meditation time, because this is where I started learning about meditation. I didn't grow up learning about that, right? I didn't really know the value of it, even though I would read the word meditation. No one taught me what it was. But I started learning about things like that, understanding how to connect like within, right? Because when you have nothing, you have what's inside of you, right? That's where perspective comes in. When I told you guys about the 5 things, you have what's inside of you. That's what wakes you up every day. That's that thing that drives you. We all have it, right? Some activated, some may not. So in moving forward, right, I started meeting people. And when I tell you I had no money, I mean that, right? So I'm gonna tell y'all a series of things that happened. I told you that my friend, my church friend, brought me into her home, right? That was wonderful. Okay. I would literally like get up, going to church. I would say, well, Lord, I ain't got but $15. Like, oh, I'm tell this story. So I had $14, a $10 bill and 4 $1 bills. And that's important for a reason. So I was going to church and I was just like thinking like, well, I got to put something in church, because people talk about you, right? When you don't drop anything in the plate. Y'all know how it is. So I'm like, okay, I know I got to do that. So I put my $10 in because in my mind, I'm like, I can go to McDonald's because at the time, McDonald's had where you could get 2 meals for $4. You know how long ago this was. I don't know if they offer that now. I don't even eat McDonald's. But that was my plan. So go to church, drop the $10. After that, you know how they try to get all the money you got sometimes. So they wanted to do yet another offering. I'm like, sitting there like, Lord, this is my McDonald's money. Like, bruh, this is how I'm eating today. So I'm telling you right now, and I sat there, like just sat there in my chair and I'm like, I am not believing this. Like, I am not believing this. And I literally heard like deep down within me, like, give the $4. Like that's what I
Wow.
heard. And I'm going back and forth because I'm thinking about the two meals, because that was lunch and dinner in my mind.
Yes.
So against my mind, I just said, you know what? It ain't but two meals. Like this is what I was saying. Let me drop the $2 in there. And it brought me back to the story about the woman with the two mites, right? So for like I said, if you've read it or if you're familiar with it, that story is Jesus acknowledges her sacrifice. It wasn't the money, it was just the fact that she sacrificed what she had to say, you know what,
Yes.
I'm gonna give it, right? That was the investment. So let me tell y'all what happened. A week later, almost to the day, I get a call because I had a property in Florida. It was so behind, y'all. It was ridiculous, right? Somebody called me and offered to buy the property, right? Which I had been trying to unload for I don't know how long because I needed this money so bad. Uh we make the deal, and I'm kind of skipping a bunch of stuff. We make the
Mm-hmm.
deal. The money that came back to me was $40,000.
Wow.
So what happened, right, is that my $4
Yes.
multiplied 10,000 times because of my sacrifice, but not just because of my sacrifice, but because of my obedience. And I wanted to tell that story because that was what broke the matrix for me. That was when I feel like God said, "Oh, I can trust you to do if you gonna deprive your body from food, because I like to eat, I can trust you." And
Yes.
from that literal point forward, however I hear it, is how I'm doing it. It's gonna always be crazy. It's gonna always make no sense, but I'm gonna move. So fast forward, I started getting my business back on track because I just had some like, you when you in a situation like that, you have depression, you have all these things. But I had enough of gumption to start back planning, right? Just saying, okay, how do I get this back on track? What is it that I need to do? A lot of it was prayer, right? So one of the things that and this is another principle, and this is something that I personally did. One of the things that I heard was, now you in business for me. You was in business for yourself before, right? To give you
Mm.
outlet. But now you're in your business. Now you're in this business for me, right? So I need it to be mine, right? And I'm like, what does that mean? It was so crazy, right? So I was talking to somebody and they were just, and literally, I didn't tell them anything. And they said to me, they said, what people don't understand is when you dedicate your business to God, it's just like a baby dedication. Like literally, it was a random thing. And I was like, that's the answer, right? So I literally, y'all, went and found, it's all the same stuff, but I don't have a book like that. So I went and found exactly what they say when they dedicate babies to God, right? And a lot of religions do this, but when they dedicate babies to God, y'all, I rewrote it like the baby was my business because I didn't know any other way to do it. And I spoke that over my business. Like I fashioned it like a daily prayer. And I spoke that over my business when I first got started. Like every day I would say this and everything that I did. From the moment I did that to 18 months, my business grew 600%.
Mm.
But I'm telling you, it's all about obedience,
I'm
right?
taking notes.
Yeah, it's all about obedience because what the prayer and the vision was about me having this global business, because what I saw in front of me was dust. It was nothing, right? That's what I thought. I'm like, well, how would I ever get from destitute, right, to destination? And I'm saying that because I'm in destinations now. But I literally was like, well, how am I going to get from destitute to destinations, right? What does that look like? So that's the first thing.
Yes.
I constructed a prayer over my business. It led me to this global business, right? My business grew 600%. After that, you know, I was shown you have to have a mantra. And so Stephanie and I are connected. So she I always put out like these different mantras. I always have some type of manifesto that I write. I've been doing that for years because every time there's a vision attached to an activation in my life, I am always given some type of manifesto, right? And some type of mantra. But the one that was most pivotal is I would always say, I'm going global, right? But my business account had the same $100 that it had when I opened it. There was no money, right? There were no clients. When I first started saying this, and let me put this in perspective for you guys, because where I am now is in the story is 2018. That ain't been that long ago, right? 2 years before COVID. So I'm at 2018. I'm saying I'm going global, blah, blah, blah. I get a call from a woman. I had never been to Europe, right? We were in the same network. She was launching a like an institute for women entrepreneurs. She said, I want you to be a part of my launch team. I'm like, huh? She was like, yes. So she tells me what she's doing. She's like, hey, I'll bring you over. This is what it is. So to put it in perspective for you, from the moment I said I'm going global, right? That was January. October was when I got that offer. The following April 2019, I was in London. Wow. That's literally how quick this all happened, right? So then I'm like, okay, because in the meantime of all of this, there's another principle that talks about writing the vision, right? People say, oh, write the vision and make it plain. But they don't talk about that next thing that says, so that the people that read it can run with it, right? That's essentially what it says. And the reason I want to bring that up is because you are the people that's supposed to read it and that's supposed to run with it, right? It's not for other people, it's for you. It's an activation, it's a call to activation. You are now supposed to take that, right, and do the thing with it. So again, I kind of walked through these principles, but that was something that I did. And every time I realized the vision, I go back through what I just told you guys, the manifesto, the mantra, the write the vision, the make it plain. And the make it plain is, what are the goals, right, that will get me to that vision? And what are the action steps that will get me to the goals, that will get me to the vision? And I always make sure that the action steps are easily implemented and measurable. Meaning, okay, in 30 days, this is what I'm going to do. In 1 week, whatever. I work that back, just so you guys know. There's also another principle. If you guys have, again, if you've read it, there was a time where King David, was supposed to build a temple. God was like, no, you did too much. Can't let you do it. But I'm going to let your son do it, which was Solomon. Solomon was unsure. He was like, now that's too big. Like, that's too big for me. The way that the story is constructed, David says a prayer over Solomon. And he asked that every skillful worker, right, be brought to him so that he can carry out this vision. And it was a call for human resources, right? Yeah. It was a human resource call. Principal, right? Who do I need on my team? Okay? Because that's what David was saying. Yeah, you ain't supposed to do this by yourself, but you need the skillful people that this is what they do. Yes. Right? That was the call. And that was the prayer, that these people be brought to him to give him what he needs. Right? So you have to have insight, you have to have foresight, you have to have hindsight. Right? You have to have a 360-degree view. It's very, very, very important, right? The people, these workers that are going to come and work for you, they need to be aligned with the vision. They don't have to be your friends. They really don't even have to be people you like, right? But they have to be aligned and they have to be committed to the vision. Oof. If they're not, it's going to be completely out of whack. And the reason that I'm sharing like these steps is because some of you now are probably saying, wow, I'm at the stage right now where I'm getting the skillful workers prepared. Yes. Right? Some of you may be saying, well, I'm at the vision stage, right? So I just gave you line by line action steps. on what, like literally you could fill it in and apply it, apply it to yourself. The other thing too that I had to really think about is like my language. Like, what am I saying? How do I talk about this business that I'm doing? How do I talk about my personal situation, my personal circumstances? Because remember, y'all, I don't have no real money again yet, right? So although I have money coming in, it's not sustaining. It's not enough to sustain. So I have to think about, all of those things. So I'm saying all these different things like out of my mouth, right? Here's what I believe, right? I believe that I was at that place longer because of the way I spoke about it, right? Because when I started changing my language, when I'm like, every day I woke up and I said, today may or it may not be today, but one day, today is going to be the day, right? If that makes sense. So today is not the day that my business takes off. Today is not the day that I get that one big client, right? But one day, today is going to be the day, meaning every day I'm expecting it to be today because
Yes.
the day that it happens is today, right? Whatever that today is. It sounds weird, but that was so motivating for me because it made me get up every day expecting my breakthrough.
Mm.
And eventually that today came. And it came in a package that challenged me, right? So there's a woman, I won't say her name because I didn't ask her for permission to share this. But there was a woman who reached out to me again through social media because she saw me, I was out there and people had recommended me for a project that she was trying to do. But when she and I talked, I was like, oh, I don't know how to do that. Like, that's way beyond. She was like, yeah, but you have the skill set. Like, I want to work with you. I'm like, I don't think that's a good idea, right? I don't think I can do this. Again, my word, right? Because I have someone saying, oh, I know you have the skills to do it. And I'm saying, no, no, no. Without all the, full, but just to say, in the end, she like literally said, I'm gonna send you something. Cause I'm still saying, no, 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 whatever. She sent me a check, a cashier's check for $25,000. We didn't have no contract. We hadn't signed any type of agreement. I told her no. She told me yes. And she sent me a check, right? That started our relationship. But not only did it start our relationship, what it said to me was, wait a minute, like she has a level of confidence in me. And I never met that woman in person. She has a level of confidence in me that she's willing to give me her money, because essentially she had done that because we didn't have anything in writing, right? But also what she did for me was she opened my mind, she broadened my horizons to a different way of thinking about business, right? And about how we do things, right? But also about myself. Cause I'm like, I'll borrow her confidence, right? Until I rise to the occasion. And it helped me get over that hump. But another principle that it helped me realize is that I just need to build where I am, right? I don't have to go and start doing all these big things. I can start with small business blocks. So this one person and being in their presence and meeting people through them and learning about different areas and working with investors and knowing what you're supposed to do and working with like high net worth people. That was not something I was used to before meeting this particular woman, right?
Mm.
Uh, and so then what happened in the meantime is that in my prayer and meditation time, it would always be like your name will be noised abroad. Now I told you I had already gone to London. So I'm like, okay, that's it. And then I started thinking like, oh, well, if I can go to London, I can go anywhere, right? That's what I started because for now I've been there. So my mind is open. Again, perspective, right? But when I met this woman and all of it, it required me to pivot. Again, one of the other principles I told you guys from the beginning, right? So we talked about perspective. We talked about pivot. We've talked a little bit about profit. I'm personally sharing some of the principles around the stories of my journey along the way. Uh, so when we think about territories, right? Because I'm a strong believer, like in the scripture that says, you know, like wherever your feet shall tread is yours. That's a promise, right? So I take it. I believe it.
Mm.
Okay. So I like to go, like now I go everywhere because I'm like, whatever mine, my feet are here.
Do you mind telling us where you are? Can you tell us where you are right now?
No, I'm back in Houston.
Oh, you back in
I'm
here
like,
because
yeah, I'm not
this
traveling.
woman, she could be anywhere. But go ahead. Okay.
I'm back in Houston. But I hold that very dearly because I didn't know about travel growing up. We didn't travel. We didn't go places. So this is like new for me. Um, but I wanted to bring that up because in businesses, our territories, it's our market share, right? Who are our clients? What's our, look, the market is huge. What's our piece? So we have to think about that. That's not just a physically go put your feet, right? It's saying wherever you're standing, whatever space you are occupying, it's yours. If it's a virtual space, it's yours. Wherever it is you want, it's yours. But you have to see it as yours first, right? You have to understand, like, this is where I'm going to be. This is what I'm going to do. But you also have to celebrate the small victories along the way. You have to make a big deal about the small victories along the way. Every time you meet one of those goals in your action step, that's cause for celebration because now you're getting closer and closer to the vision, right? You can say, you know what? I'm on step 5. Now I have 4 more to go, but I'm not at step 1. That's a huge celebration. Why? Because you're more than halfway towards the goal that's going to take you to the vision. That's very, very, very important. Another principle as well is really like challenging limiting beliefs, like from my past, right? Moving beyond what I see. Because vision, right? This is my own definition. A vision is an unmanifested desired destination. Because if you're there, there's no vision, there's nothing left. So vision, right, is unmanifested. So everything that you do each day, every step that you take is towards the manifestation, right? Manifestation isn't typically instant. We say it is, right? Like if we study things like the law of attraction, they say, oh, you manifested that instantly, but you've been saying your affirmations for 2 years. So it's not instant, right? It manifested as it was supposed to manifest. And I'm not challenging the law of attraction. I'm just saying lots of times it's not instant, right? It's just that we've been patiently and we've been waiting. I put a post on social media, I think it was today. I put a post on there about being the gate, right?
Yes. Yeah. If you can explain that, because I responded, I said, that's powerful. Please go ahead.
So one of the things about gates, right? People always feel like, oh, think about like the biggest house that you could think of, right? No, let me back up. The gated community, right? If you think about the gated communities in your city, typically we can all visualize what type of homes are behind the gate, right? We don't have to know anybody behind the gate, but we make our own assumptions about the people that live in the houses behind the gate, right? So I'm just using that as an example because perspective, right? Some people say, oh, they put the gate up because they don't want others to come in, right? Some people say, well, I put the gate up to mark my territory, right? Perspective, it just depends. The gate for me represents what I would say is my entire vision, right? It encompasses every aspect, the entire 360 degree, right? Of who I am, what I'm doing, all of my visions, everything that I am connected to, right? And I'm speaking specifically in relationship to my social media posts, because one of the things that I was saying is that gatekeeping, right, is a big word, right? Oh, don't gatekeep, don't gatekeep, don't gatekeep. I don't particularly subscribe to gatekeeping or not, right? And so when I say I am the gate, that's twofold for me. There's not a gate in this world that I'm not on the other side of it, right? I'm inside the gate. There's nowhere I can go in this world where I'm not inside of a gate. Now, if you believe that there are certain gates that you ain't gonna be inside of, then you're gonna be on the outside of that gate. It's as simple as that. So that's the boundary, right? That's your limiting belief. And that's why when I was saying in my social media posts, some people are inside the gate, some people are on the other side. I didn't say outside of the gate. I just said they're on the other side, which means they're not an insider, right? What am I saying? Like, how do I say this? Like, all gates have doorways, right? There's a way into the gate, but in relationship to the gate is very small, right? It could be a walk-through gate where you have to, physically walk through. It could be a drive-through gate, but typically there's going to be one or two entrances. You're not going to have a gate with a lot of ins and outs, right? Typically, there are also certain people, right, that get access inside the gate. There are people that live in there, right? And so they have all access because they own what's going on. You have some people that go in the gate and out the gate, right? They get access, but they're not able to stay. They're not able to stay, right? They come in for a reason, right? And once their reason is over, they got to go. But you got some people, right? If you purchase a home, now you inside the gate. You can come in, nobody has to let you in. Why? Because you belong there. You belong there.
Yes. So that's the goal.
That's the goal.
That's the goal.
Nobody has to let you in and out. So what SestraNow is building is a gate. Right? You can be in. You can make your money on the app. You can support this vision, or you could be on the outside. Or I'll say on the other side.
Yes.
Right? So what I'm saying is you have to decide what your vision is. You have to decide what your gate, if you have a gate. Some people don't have a gate, which means you have no boundaries. You have no limitation. That means anybody could have access to whatever you got going on. Unchecked. I personally say that I'm the gate, right? Because for me, there are boundaries that are set, but everything inside of that gate is mine, right? I don't care if it's the house next door. I don't care what it is, because the entire community within the gate is all mine. If you visit any gated community, there are some that even have grocery stores. They got grocery stores, they got schools. Some of them are small towns, right? You don't ever have to leave. I went to a country club event, right? The mayor of Houston was having. And I was like, because I was looking at the address, I'm like, there's no country club over there. Like, I've been in that area. Guess where it was? Behind the gate.
It's behind the gate. Yes.
You couldn't see it. You couldn't see it for the road. Like, you had to go so far up into this subdivision, and there was a guard there. And he came out when I pulled up, and he was like, your name? And he literally went through, and he was like, flipping the page, because my last name is M. So I'm in the middle, right? So I had to flip a couple pages. He's like, okay, can I see your ID? Because I told him my name. But he was like, let me verify. Let me verify. Why? Because I could tell you anything. See, you don't let people in the gate without verifying that they're who they say they are and that they have a reason for being there, that they, that's an approved reason for being there. So there's so many aspects.
Yes, right? It is.
When we're talking about it. But I wanted to bring that up because this is a conversation that's extremely important. Because the people that are complaining about gatekeeping, right, it's because they outside the gate. Insiders don't complain about gatekeeping because it don't matter what's going on at the door of the gate. You inside doing what you need to do. And that's why I said insiders, right, get access so they can leverage tools to build assets. If that's not what you on, that's okay. You don't belong in my gate.
Mm.
You just don't, right? And it ain't even anything elitist. It's not. But I'm saying all that to speak to my last principle, perseverance, right? I shared a little bit. I know it was kind of like the I don't know, highlights, lowlights, right? Of my story, but to round it all off, like I literally went from what I told you guys, right? Dust, may as well say, because I'm pocket lint, whatever, to I can't say that I'm back to where I was. I'm not gonna say that, but I'm not far, right? From where that was. Um, with the totality of everything. But the point that I'm trying to make is that I had to decide that I was going to change my perspective about my situation. I had to decide that as I moved up, as I elevate, right, part of my responsibility is to elevate others. Um, I created a grant, right? And what we decided to do at first, and I think I talked about this last time, we've made a complete shift from what we were going to do previously, right? We had like an application process, and we were like, okay, we'll pay the application fee, we'll have a third party do it. And it just didn't sit right, right? Having an application fee like didn't sit right. And I was just like, okay, let me go back to the drawing board. The drawing board for me is prayer and meditation, right? Let me make sure like that I'm doing this exactly right. So I told y'all what happened when I don't follow the direct plan. I ain't going back there. Not an option.
Yes.
So I was inspired to not just to do two things. One, remove the application fee and make it a nomination process. That would be free. But the second thing is, right, personally handpick certain organizations or companies that I want to personally put my investment in, which is my seed, right? And being very intentional about what that seed is, because I'm not sowing on bad ground. And anywhere that I put my dollars, I know that they're going to activate and they're going to further the vision of the particular company or organization. Oh, I'm sorry, Stephanie.
And you did that for SestraNow. So I just like to say we were awarded a $1,000 grant from LeTonya Moore. So that means her seed is planted in good ground, and you're gonna see it.
Absolutely. And one of the things that I will say definitely to you, Stephanie, is that it may seem like a lot of things are in vain, but they're not, right? When we do purpose work, it gets to the place where it will get extremely rough. Been there, understand, know how it is. But every day you move the ball forward. And that's why I wanted to, I was happy to be able to come today and share some of these things, because any of these tips that any of you, Stephanie, you as well, can use and activate, just understand that these are tools to kind of move the ball forward. When I said high value, high net worth clients, I don't want to say high value, but high net worth clients, I've never looked back from that point, right? And my clients have, the net worth of my clients have gone up and up and up and up and up, right? So as a principal, right, I can't service a high net worth client and not be a high net worth individual, right? So that is the promise for me. And I understand that. And it's not about money, right? It's not about net worth, but it's really about being a person that can be trusted to follow directions, right? Even if that direction says, give an organization $1,000, right? Because this is not a fund, like this is my own money that I'm giving out, right? Because I feel like if I can't be a first partaker, why am I asking other people to give their money so I can give their money out, right? To just anybody. I want to go through this process. I want to be a part of helping an organization move a little bit further. Even if it's like, okay, I can get my website done now that I have $1,000. I don't know. Or this was the last $1,000 I needed to complete a project.
Yes.
Right? I don't know what it is, but these are right now micro grants. But I know in my heart that the $1,000 grants soon are going to be $10,000 grants, and so on and so forth. Because I believe, and I've seen God multiply my money 10,000 times. So why wouldn't he give it? Why wouldn't he multiply it 1,000 times?
True.
Because I've seen it, and I've seen it manifest, even in my own life. But if we have time, if anyone has any questions, I'm willing to take questions.
Thank you so much, LeTonya. That was just so much. I took notes, but I'm just gonna have to look at this again. But any of you ladies that are participating, any of our sisters have any questions for LeTonya? I'm just like, there was so many nuggets there. I just have to go back, and it's just a timely message for me. I appreciate it. Any questions from anyone? Carmen, Harriet, and we have Diane that join us. First of all, I want to say the grant that you gave to SestraNow, your organization gave, it made a difference. And I look forward to telling that story, that how it came at a time. I just want to be transparent. Right now, where I am is where you were in that car. Okay. I've been there for a while. And it's okay, because like I told you before this even started, I'm right there. I'm at the door, right? And of the breakthrough. And this is all happening just, I don't know, like every day I wake up with that expectation like you did, and I don't know whether this is going to be the day, but my faith is that is I'm right there and I'm listening. I'm very in tune with what he is saying. But this is coming at a time that I believe we're all going to see very soon that this is in divine order. This message, this meeting is not by chance. This you coming to talk about principles to profit is not by chance. There's a lot of things that are not by chance. And I cannot wait to see it, what God, what my God is doing, because it's going to be amazing. Because I need to hear this, what you're saying. I learned a lot from it. And it's just amazing. I cannot wait to go back. And I advise everyone to just go back and really listen to these nuggets and what LeTonya has said tonight. Because if you're in the business of profit and making money, these are principles, definitely principles to profit. Okay. And LeTonya, we want to thank you so much for your time tonight. I want to thank you for your investment in SestraNow, not just $1,000, but really for the last 3 years, you have just been such an asset and such a support to us. And I look forward to the day that I can give you that call to say, let's go. Like I said, I told you, have your blue suit ready, your black suit ready, because we're going in the gate. We're going in. We're going in to some big places, like the White House, the United Nations, right? Other countries, embassies. I'm telling you, because we're an international organization and we're going, and I want you to come with us. Okay? You are going to come with us. I need you.
Absolutely.
We need you. This is in divine order. So that being said, we're going to wrap it up, this recording, and we want to thank everyone for joining us tonight. And we definitely want to thank LeTonya Moore for giving us her time and her expertise and dropping these nuggets tonight. And I'm sure she'll come back to do it again because she's so knowledgeable, and we're going to get her back to drop some nuggets on a different what we can just use all of that intelligence and all of that she has going on up there. I just take it all in, you know what I mean, and drink it all up. And I want all my sisters to do the same. So we want to thank you for your time tonight, LeTonya, and for dropping those nuggets. And I'm gonna go back and listen to this recording, and you guys stay tuned for the SestraNow breakthrough because it's coming soon. All right, everyone, good night. We're gonna stop the recording here.